Today we're going to take a normal tactic and flip it on its head. That's right, today the strikers will be on defend, and as many defenders as possible will be on attack.
This is football heritage.
Knowing I'm going to need 3 centre-backs, I've chose Inter Milan. They're set up perfectly for it. And it's time to get going with it. So each wide centre-back will be on attack. It'd be very easy to have wing-backs on attack up there, but let's make it a bit harder by dragging them back into the defensive zone. Both of them will also be on attack. That'll leave us one player who can just hold down the fort. As we move up front, we've already got one set up and a pressing forward on defend, and we'll match that with the other striker, so we have double pressing forwards on defend. Where the goals are going to come from, I have no idea. So this is tricky. We're going to have to find goals from somewhere, so I'm thinking that the central midfielders will both be on attack. We'll pop this guy up there for now as well, meaning that these two will be the main threats. I'm expecting that when it gets going, your wing backs and your wide centre backs will be bombing up. So maybe your wing backs will end up there in a dream world, and your wide centre backs will end up there. Your attacking midfielders might swap places, so to speak, with the strikers. Who knows what's going to happen? Let's find out. And the good news is, this is the reason we chose Inter, because they've got masses of centre-backs and loads of midfielders and some decent striking talent as well. Oh yeah, better change this. 1540 wide. I don't want to give you lot ideas for a new video, so let's hide that. So I've went away and had a little tactic build. Welcome to Def Tac. Defence and attack.
Absolute rubbish.
So what we've got going on here is 2 wide centre-backs on attack, 2 wing-backs on attack, so I'm hoping that those 2 players will dominate each flank. Higher up we have the 2 players on defend as strikers, and hoping these 2 central midfielders will kind of switch places with them as we get going. We'll soon find out. And I've gone aggressive down here with an attacking mentality just to try and get players up the pitch, because these guys are going to want to come back all the time. In fact, if you look at the pressing forward on defend, you can see his mentality is cautious. The hard-coded player instructions are all pretty basic and negative. So we're going to have to try and get goals from the central midfielders and possibly even from the wing-backs. I put overlap on left and right, so the wing-backs and wide centre-backs can kind of rotate around. We'll see how it looks in match. It could be quite cool. So a big squad with a load of options. For example, Carlos Augusto, who can play wing-back or centre-back, is pretty much ideal for a wide centre-back because he's got the ability to play wide, but can also do a job in the centre. Crossing, dribbling, very, very good option. And on the other side, we've got Pavard, who played for years as a right-back at Bayern Munich. He's pretty much the ideal wide centre-back as well. It'll be interesting to see how it affects the strikers. How many goals will they actually score, or will most of the goals come from these guys in midfield? Let's take you to a pre-season friendly against Juventus. Now, we've got the ball there from a set piece, so that is our traditional setup. We've got wide centre-back Bisek is playing here with Bastoni, and Barella's dropping deep to receive the ball, and our wing-backs is DeMarco and Dumfries. Up front, you can see we've got Lautaro there, Thuram there, and the central midfielders are already trying to swap places with them. Let's see how it plays out then. So as Bisek drives forward, high up on the other side we've got Dumfries, our wing back, and DeMarco, our left wing back, and this is what we thought would happen. Look, Lautaro and Thuram have dropped back, and Hakan and Fratesi have swapped places with them. That is actually super cool. That might actually confuse a few centre backs who thought they'd be marking these two, but they've completely switched. As the ball goes out wide, then the strikers start to get forward as well, meaning we've got 4 in the box alongside DeMarco. Our wide centre-backs now are acting as full-backs. Dumfries crosses, little deflection, and it's a striker that scores it, but look how many players we've got in the box.
Heritage.
In fact, pre-season was pretty good. Only one game that we didn't win against Fiorentina. So that was a promising start. I absolutely loved the way the strikers dropped deep and the central midfielders on attack went past them. And even though these two are deep, starting deep, they still get way high. Normally, these sorts of saves are pain, but I'm actually looking forward to this one. As the season got going, we had a really interesting game against Roma. Check this out. So that's a central midfielder on attack. And now out wide, we've got Dumfries there. But also joining him is the wide centre-back in Pavard. Dumfries and Pavard, look at them, basically next to each other. And it's fact, Pavard, who's now the most advanced. So Dumfries drops back to cover him. And he's the one that supplies the cross for the central midfielder to score. And in this same match, we got more of the rotations we were talking about. Bastoni there to Mehdi, who's dropped in as a pressing forward on defend. And about to burst past him is Mkhitaryan central midfielder on attack. Having seen those rotations, it was no surprise to see that we started the season really well. Look at them results flying in. Really annoying we lost the Milan derby, but I'm putting it down to that moment of madness from Hakan. Silly boy. Things were going well, and we even beat Aston Villa.
What?
Now you might ask, why is that such a big deal? Well, in this edition of Football Manager, it doesn't matter what I do, Aston Villa beat me. But not today, because they couldn't handle it as Acerbi, the wide centre-back, found an Arnautovic. So at the halfway point of the season, roughly, we are third in the league, and quite surprisingly, we're second top scorers with 38. We've only conceded 14. And we finished top of our Champions League group, not losing a match. However, I'm getting itchy fingers because we'd started well, but then you know how you get that little slump always around December, January time? I mean, it's not bad, but I just think there's signs we might need to change it up. So I'm going to try a couple of things. This result here against Napoli has tipped me. I just feel like we should be doing slightly better. If you look at chances created, we're top of that by an absolute mile. Shots for, we've had more than anybody, and clean sheets we're joint top. I feel like we should be top of the league. And yeah, when I looked at the XG table, we should be.
International 1.
So I made some slight changes to the tactic. The main one being, let's have a third central midfielder on attack to completely bomb forward past these two pressing forwards and try and get a few more goals that I think that we deserve. And now when we go forward with the three central midfielders on attack and those two wide players on attack, Acerbi, DiMarco, look at how many options DiMarco's going to have here in the box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the wide centre-back chilling on the edge of the box. It's no surprise that carnage happens in the box and we end up scoring. So this more aggressive version looks like it's got potential. And we won the Super Cup beating top of the league Napoli. We battered Genoa. And this match against Fiorentina shows where we can get the goals and assist options from. That's Bastoni, our wide centre-back. He cuts it back to our central midfielder on attack, and on the edge of the box is our wing-back.
Heritage.
We'd even made it to the semi-finals of the Champions League, believe it or not, and Liverpool couldn't deal with us at home. But I've just got the feeling that late goal from Gakpo might cost us. We lost away to Milan 3-0. The scoreline flatters them, but this will show you the type of goal that we're conceding, and it's our own fault really. So when the ball comes through here, as soon as we win that ball back, the wide centre-backs, Pavard and Acerbi, they set off because they're on attack. So they kind of just leave everyone in. Do you see that? If I just backtrack that a little bit. So we win the ball. Maldini's got it. He's watching his man. But when we win it back, as I slow this down, you'll see that he immediately sets off because he's on attack. So we've won it back there. Now we start setting off. He thinks we're in control. He's off, but we've lost it again. He's out of position. And then Loftus-Cheek's in. And that's how we concede. The attacking mentality of the defenders just means as soon as we've got the ball, we're off.
Syria out.
So I was intrigued about average positions, and wait till you see this. With the ball in a game we dominate, there you go. Look how many players go forward. So you've got your two strikers, but the central midfielders are so close to them because they're switching places, and it's so wide. You've got your two wing backs and your wide centre backs wide, leaving this guy to kind of hold down the fort. Now without the ball, they do get back and drop in quite well, but your wing backs are still pretty advanced, leaving an overall position looking something like that. In the Champions League, it went all the way to penalties, but unfortunately, we blew it with some stinking penalties. And the guy that scored that late goal in the first leg, Gakpo, sealed it. A bloody good effort, though, against Liverpool. And in the league, despite a really good second half of the season, we just fell short to Napoli by 3 points. But we were the top scorers in the league and the best defence in the league. We really should have won that league. So that was actually quite pain-free, and I actually enjoyed that, believe it or not, for the first time ever. So there is a lot there that you can take to create a potential really good tactic, I think. Now, I did use 3 versions. That's the one I used second half of the season. That one is what I used against Liverpool away, just to try and get something, because I was worried about that match. Little changes here and there, and that's the one we started the season with. All in all, this is probably the best version. Give us the most success. The analyst report is really impressive. You can see we used that formation throughout, and clear-cut chances for was plus 52. So we were always on top of teams. And interestingly, the goals were spread out. If we put it in goals order, you can see Lautaro Martinez, who takes the penalties, finished top scorer. Thuram only scored 13, and then you've got your midfielders with 13, 10 and 9. Even the centre-backs getting involved with 9, 5 and 5. And as far as assists go, as you can imagine, you've got Hakan, who takes the set pieces, but then you've got wing-backs Dumfries, DiMarco, Damian, and the midfielders. I will stick that tactic in Patreon if you want to give it a go and try and make it even better for yourself. There's stuff you can do to make it more reasonable. Obviously, you could change one of these to a normal striker role. You could change one of these to back off a bit, but interesting what we can do.